to this nice view. Figure something out. I feel like it should be possible to figure something out.
Fire77 says looks amazing. Heard you guys having fun.
I'm having a lot of fun. Definitely. So we've been just trying to orient it here. You can get a necklace with cool designs on it. And gemstones. Oh, that's kind of pretty. It's a lot of resources. It's 365, yeah. you can't wait with us.
Carry an entire PC tower and nuclear power station on her back.
Snapper turtle. Oh, wow. That's a big one. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. Hi. I have a chat that thinks your cosplay look really amazing. And I just wanted to tell you guys. That's all. Poor crabs trying to carry their stone home got caught here. Did they import it from Egypt? Yeah. It's like Murica. So I'm pretty cool. Yeah. So I died, and then I get sacrificed. And then we're traveling on Bifrost. Not Bifrost. Is it Bifrost? I can't remember. And then we're drinking with the gods. What up? This looks weird.
Yeah, like they have good stuff.
Yeah, it's quality.
Yes!
Holder vi fast. Bare til mig. Det er vigtigt, at I får gode billeder. Please wait. Russian style, yeah. He's getting a lot of speed. Oh my God. Hello. Welcome to this nice view. Figure something out. I feel like it should be possible to figure something out.
Fire77 says looks amazing. Heard you guys having fun.
I'm having a lot of fun. this with cool designs on it. And gemstones. Well, that's kind of pretty. It's a lot of resources. It's 365, yeah. you can't wave at us.
Let's carry an entire PC tower and nuclear power station on our back.
Snapper turtle. Oh, wow. That's a big one. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. Hi. I have a chat that thinks your Cosmo look really amazing. And I just wanted to tell you guys. That's all. Oh crap, I was trying to carry the stone home, got caught here. Did they import it from Egypt? Yeah. It's like Murica. So I'm pretty cool. Yeah. So I died, and then I get sacrificed. And then we're traveling on Bifrost. Not Bifrost. Is it Bifrost? I can't remember. And then we're drinking with the gods. What up? This looks weird.
Yeah, like they have good stuff.
Yeah, it's quality.
Yes.
Hold it fast. Bare til mig. Det er vigtigt, at I får en god billede. Please wait.
Julian says scene successfully switched to
Dun, dun, dun.
Julian says current bit rate 6,268 kilobits per second, RTT 140 milliseconds.
Cool.
Menchele TV says, when did you change the name?
Hey Menchele, like 3 days ago or something like that. It's pretty new. It's pretty new. Boop-a-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Head south on Bogensivai, Route 307 toward Frobjørgvej.
Why did chat disconnect? Stop that. It's pretty new. It's yeah. I can give you a lovely command that my mod made for me yesterday.
Stream Elements says Tranquilizer has rebranded to CosmoJaeger. This new name comes from a desire to have a name that is more relatable. In Danish, the word Jaeger means hunter, so it's someone who is hunting across the realm or the cosmos for interesting adventures and stories.
Hell yeah. And then yesterday we had a bunch of tech issues, so that was fun. But it was also pretty late yesterday.
Mental ATV says cool.
And today we shall see how the weather holds up, if it's going to be raining or if it's going to be not raining or if it's going to be both. We will find out. But I figured we might as well just do something rather than sit inside and be miserable. So that's my thought process today. And who knows? Maybe I fixed the issues, maybe I didn't. Yesterday I was having issues with only getting shit connections, to be fair, which was quite surprising considering that majority of the country has pretty good connection. So I fixed the wiring on my antenna so that it's no longer just jumping off.
Streamer Lemons says come join the Prometheus Discord at https://discord.gg/cb7pqrj.
And then I tried to see if I could do something with the wiring on a Jetson Nano, but that's nothing interesting to be done there. I don't think my power supply can supply 5 volts at 4 amps. I don't think I can get that. So for now we just leave it like that. But yeah, as you can tell, the weather today is pretty moody. I don't know what to say, like it's switching between being sunny and it looks like it's a lot of grey clouds in the distance. Either way, we'll do something. Randomized trailer just discarded there. I guess it's missing a wheel, maybe that's why. But yeah, since last time mentioned, I completely switched stream technology, so that's fun. A lot of new interesting possibilities. No longer.
Mental ATV says, oh yeah.
Yeah, no longer running
Mental
RTMP.
ATV says, what are you using?
We're using some software called BelaBox, which runs on the Jetson Nano. And it's using a different transport layer than the RTMP. So instead of having all of the cutouts constantly, we only have them sometimes. The bit rate is a lot higher. Like I've been able to push 12 megabit compared to the other one where I was struggling to push 4. And on top of that, we're also pushing 1080p at 60 FPS. So, fuck yeah. I'm doing all of that through a single modem as well. The only issues I have at the moment is my modem has a tendency to turn off on its own. which is kind of bullshit because it's the Nighthawk M1, and like, I don't see why it would be turning off on its own. The only thing I can think of that might be the cause of it is temperature. But when I stick my hand down after it turns off, it's like, it's not even like hot to the touch. It's just, it's whatever. So I don't get it.
Mental ATV says I only had that problem with Tem.
Yeah.
Mental ATV says I think you can run it from an external battery.
Maybe. But I do have the charging cable and all of that interesting stuff with me as well. And it does get, it got warm while it was charging. Like I had it in the charger today. And it gets pretty warm. I don't know, maybe I'll
90 km per second, RTT 2515 milliseconds. Kingelner Julian says current bitrate 3782 kilobits per second, RTT 146 milliseconds.
In 600 meters, turn left onto Middelvaartweg, Route 313.
Only reason why I did a check of the bitrate there was actually my chat disconnected, and I was thinking it might be maybe the modem died, but it seems alright.
Turn left onto Middelvaartweg, Route 313.
So a lot of water at the corner of that.
Continue on Route 313 for 3 kilometers.
But yeah, even though we get a low signal there, like the scene will switch to low bitrate and it should still continue going. Like it should still be a decent enough quality so that you can hear what I'm saying. Whereas the other one, when it got into a low bitrate area, it would just cut off completely and it would be impossible to see what was going on. My biggest issue is that it's impossible to see what the stream looks like while streaming. Although using the live chat, I could probably set that up so I'm also looking at the chat, the feed, but not the chat, the stream feed, but. Already so many things going on that sometimes you just need to keep it simple. Also want to see if we can find someone who is possibly open, who makes food. See if we can get some lunch. I don't know what. I didn't bring my water either. Genius. But I do want to get some lunch.
In 600 meters, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Austria Ring by Route 313.
I think we'll take the first exit and see if we can make this navigation shush. See if there's some food down here by Athens Central. Party Center. I'd be highly surprised if there wasn't, but you never know. It's difficult to figure out what the fuck's going on. I feel like the majority of the places in the movie don't have like, I don't know, maybe it's just me who's picky and don't trust random ass restaurants. Not really sure what this person is doing. I think he might be trying to park, I'm not sure. I don't really see any places where I'm like, oh, it's a decent eating place. All of this is like, I don't know, you know, places you go to get a drink, and all of those are closed because, you know, that's how the world works. Although I do see some fast food here, so we're gonna go check that out. I'm gonna leave the backpack in the car because I don't want to have people be like, what the fuck? And I'm not allowed to film inside anyway, so I'm not gonna leave you on the street. I'm gonna leave you in the car instead. Enjoy. Just need my mask. I mean, you want to support the local businesses, but then they can't even be asked to like be present in their own business. Like, come on, not that hard. It can't be that hard. Let's sit down by the harbour then. If that grill is open, or if it's also like just a bunch of, I don't even know. Big boat just lying here. I mean, it says open on the sign, so that's a good sign. Not sure how open it actually is though. We'll see. We shall see. Did the stream die? No, it's fine. Okay, cool. Cool. It was just insanely far behind on my phone. That's fun. You never know. Anyways, I'll be right back again, see if we can get something to eat. Food, 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 food. What the fuck? Cool. Cool.
Kinglemer Julian says current bitrate 6045 kilobits per second, RTT 141 milliseconds. Messaged says, what did you get, old man?
Got pilch mix. That's what I got. Feels good, man. How are you doing today?
Messaged says, yummy.
Very nice.
$715,209 says, hey guys. Messaged says, just chillin' bruv.
Yo. Let's see if we can get you guys a good view or if it's just gonna be horrible. Horrible. Run over a seagull or something. It'll be fun. I'm just gonna sit and eat.
Messaged says, where are you?
I'm currently in Athens. I think that's the first time I've ever been told to go outside while waiting for my food. But that's fair. Whatever. Whatever. And then later on we'll drive down a bit further south and go for a walk down there if the weather allows it. But like right now it looks like it's pretty decent. Like there's obviously a lot of clouds, but I've seen worse. I have seen worse. So yeah, I'll sit here and eat for a second and then we'll go. What are you guys up to today? Anything interesting going on out there?
715,209 says PogChamp.
Yes, PogChamp. I have a little thing so I can update the level on the stream without
715,209 says just woke up.
Oh, nice. It's a good start to the day then. I suppose it's about that time for the east coast of America. Speaking of something like time
715,209 says I'm in the Netherlands, cheeky smiley face.
Oh, that's fair. Seems about a good time to wake up if you live in the Netherlands then. But like, speaking of time zones, I can't help but wonder, like, who came up with the idea of time zones? Like, who even realized that we needed time zones? Because when you go far enough back, like, how did you know? How did anyone know that the sun would rise about an hour later if you went far enough to the west? Like, surely that observation only just came about when people were able to like send stuff back and forth fast enough.
Streamer Lemons says come join the Prometheus Discord at https://discord.gg/cb7pqrj.
So I guess when people started flying, maybe? Like, when was it necessary to invent time zones? Because if you sail by boat from the Europe to the US, you wouldn't notice it. Because you'd just be getting up when sun rises every day, right?
715,209 says didn't most countries just have their own time?
Yeah, probably. But I'm just wondering, like, when did someone observe that there is actually a reasonable idea of time zones? Some food for thought, that is for sure. Mr. JDA, if you're still here, do you guys have where you live, like, or is that a new restriction or something that people have to wait outside for their food, or what's going on there? Or is it just down here in the city? Because I've not seen it before today. Which, to be fair, it's fair enough, like, making people wait outside. Whatever. I've had worse. I know a lot of countries had not just their own currency, but like Spain had like what, 200, 300 different currencies at some point. So the fact that we all share a lot of currencies today is kind of unheard of. But also mostly you would just bargain with whatever you had, like, oh, I'm just gonna...
715,209 says here you can only pick up food or get it delivered.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. We're not allowed to sit in the restaurant and eat in the restaurant either. But we are allowed to like go in and make the order. And I've done that before where I've just made the order and just stood there and waited for them to finish it. Because there was nobody else around. Like today. But today they asked me to go outside. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go outside. I don't mind. Whatever. I just never seen anyone specifically ask the customers to do that. And then they give us this tiny machine that beeps whenever the food is ready, which also makes sense. That's something they normally have at these restaurants. But it's like you're taking that token, let's call it a token, and then you walk away with it. And in reality, you could be smudging bacteria all over it, like, or virus. So I'd argue that's even worse than just asking people to wait.
$715,209 says another thought, does money actually have any value? Kappa.
See, that's the thing, it actually doesn't anymore. The American dollar used to have a value, which was based on gold. And you could always go down and like trade in your dollars for a set amount of gold. But because the value of currency has inflated so much, you wouldn't be able to like delegate the gold to people anymore. So the value of the American currency is no longer based on gold. I'm not sure what our values are or our currency is based on. But a lot of it is just...
Target says high at 715,209.
A lot of the value of currency is just from, you know, people believing in it.
Incorrect target says, hey Tranker CosmoJaeger, have a good stream. 715,209 says at incorrect target, hey.
And like, it's the same thing with cryptocurrency. The only reason why cryptocurrency has a value is because people believe in it. It's a virtual coin. Nobody cares. Or I suppose they do. But yeah, today we're probably headed to another place where there's no connection, or little to low connection. So we'll take it when we get there. But I think a lot of the issues I had yesterday is resolved in the fact that I was an idiot. And I had roaming enabled, and I shouldn't have. Like, unless I'm going to Germany, there's no point of having roaming enabled. And even then, I'd rather see if we can buy something local and use their data. Because roaming with my data, well, in Europe it's not too bad. But if I go to the US, it gets really expensive very fast.
715,209 says still on BelaBox.
Yeah, we're still running on BelaBox. I'm not planning on switching back. BelaBox has been stable enough to the point where I'm like, I can believe in this working. The only things that's been unstable has been my modem, and as far as I know, BelaBox doesn't have anything to do with that apart from more data. So like that's fine, but I need to figure out why it's shutting off every now and then, the BelaBox. But not BelaBox, the modem. I switched today to use IRL chat instead of using SoundWire for the TTS, and then I can turn off TTS if I don't want to listen to it. So there's that. But yeah, it was kind of raining this morning here, so I was like, oh well, that kind of sucks. But on the other hand, we could just go out and sit and listen to the rain or do something else than sitting inside, so I wasn't too worried. And then basically just eating lunch. Watching the beautiful waves that are non-existent.
Incorrect target says it's gonna rain. Looks like a nice weather so far.
Like looking at the clouds, the ones we have in front of us are downwind as far as I can tell. So a lot of the clouds are not going to come over here. As far as I know, the wind is going from south to north, and we're currently on the south. Right now we're looking west. But we'll be heading more east, southeast. And even if it rains, then yeah, whatever. We went outside. We tried. I was looking at the timetables for the place where I was, not the timetables, the tide table, to see when low tide and high tide was, and it looks like at this time of year, the fluctuation in the water level is not that high. So on the best occasion, it would be 20 centimeters lower than the norm, and on the worst, it would be 20 higher. So there's a fluctuation of about like half a meter. Whereas in the summer, it gets close to about a meter, and then depending on wind as well, we could possibly get down to like maybe a meter under normal sea level. But I'm gonna keep an eye on that because that's a place where we would like to go and just try it out. But the thing is, we can only travel there on low tide. And I have to make sure we can get back again on the low tide before it gets dark. Either that or I have to spend the night over there, which could be very cold. But yeah, give me a second here and then I'll be done eating and then we'll head off. When eating something that's kind of spicy but not really, it still gets your nose running and it's kind of annoying. But we'll deal with that. But yeah, I've actually done some lengthy streams from the city before where one of the clips I have where we're watching the sunset is actually from down here. It's a really beautiful coastline they have. I don't know much about the city itself. It's not really much to yell woo for. It seems pretty boring to me. But it's also just from the point of view of someone who's driven through. There's not much that's like catching your eye, telling you that this is the place to go. Excuse me. And also today, no, what you call it? No compressor on the mic. I was listening back to the VOD yesterday and I thought it was weird. And I think it unfortunately emphasizes some of the things that you normally don't hear, like the car noise and all of that, where it's kind of on the quiet side normally. But with the compressor, it boosts the quiet and it lowers the loud. So everything just becomes one giant mush, where I think we need more spectrum for what we're doing. Like, it's okay if you're sitting in a studio and you're talking into a microphone and the only thing that you want to hear is your own voice. Like, that's all. But out here we're hearing a lot more than just a human voice. We're hearing like the ambience around us. And I think it's not something you can put into a compressor that successfully, at least not what I've seen or heard. God damn it. The only thing I don't like about IRL chat is it promises me that it's keeping the chat going while I have other windows open, but it's not doing that at all. And it's kind of like, what the fuck? But yeah, 6 minutes drive.
Head south on Nordre Havnevei toward Havnegade.
So if anyone typed anything in chat after incorrect target said it's gonna rain, question mark, I haven't seen it. And I apologize for that. But we'll be heading off. Let's go. Some giant ass ships out here on the docks.
Incorrect target says nah, no one just typed anything. Incorrect target says smiley face.
No worries, thank you very much for letting me know.
In 200 meters, turn left onto Willamose Gate, Route 168. You're back online. You should reach your destination by 1518.
It's amazing how apparently we were offline.
Turn left onto Willamose Gate, Route 168, then turn right onto Sondra Ringvej.
Not of my knowledge.
No, it's good enough. I appreciate it. Look at that church tower there, it's a beautiful
Turn right onto Sondra Ringvej.
715,209 says I'll BRB.
Alrighty. You have a good BRB. BR.
Continue on Sondra Ringvej for 1.5 kilometers.
And this giant yellow building that we see in front of us, like in the far distance from you guys probably, but it's in front of us, we'll get to it in a second. It's, I believe it's the local police station.
says, hey Trank,
Hey,
how are
Moritz.
things mate? Finished my web dev course.
Oh, nice. Things are going pretty well. They are going pretty well. Can I get my microphone? So I don't have to like sit and yell. Or is it stuck on the wire? It's probably stuck on the wire. There we go. Sorry about that, that was probably loud. That's been driving past the police station. And then we did actually do a stream from down here as well. So yeah, we've been here a few times actually. It's not horrible. Hey Google, can you?
Lost. Stream Elements says come join the Prometheus Discord at 8.
Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud?
Sure, asking SoundCloud to play Monster Cat Page Volume 1 by Direct, Anevo, Richkey, Orbiter, Glacier.
Second, RTT 147 milliseconds. Kingle Julian says scene switched to connection lost.
Oh, 1 second. Are we back live? Is that what's going on?
Julian says current bitrate 2,911 kilobits per second. RTT 145 milliseconds.
Regarding the Bootstrap versus Materialize, yeah, Materialize does have a lot of features and they have some more complete things. Hey Google, can you?
Kingle Julian says scene switched to live. Kingle Julian says.
Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud?
Asking SoundCloud to play Monster Cat Page Volume 1 by Direct, Anevo, Richkey, Orbiter, Glacier, Mern, Reach, Quiet Disorder.
Kingle Julian says scene switched to live. Kingle Julian says current bitrate.
Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud?
Sure, asking SoundCloud to play Monster Cat Page Volume 1 by Direct, Anevo, Richkey, Orbiter, Glacier, Mern, Reach, Quiet Disorder, Tokyo Machine, Duamu, Monster Cat, Hazo, Slips, Slurs, Stonebank, Rootkit, Unlike Pluto, Bass Nectar, Grant, Darren Styles, Wolfgang Gartner, Nano B, Nitro Fun, 7 Minutes Dead, Muzzy, Noise Storm, Stephen Walking. Take the next left onto Salthoff Divide, then turn right onto Jacob Gate VJ.
Says current bitrate 6,513 kilobits per second. RTT 133 milliseconds.
A bit
Take
confused.
the next right onto Jacob Gate VJ.
Why it's so much all or nothing today? Like, come on.
In 200 meters, turn right onto Dredget.
It seems a bit weird, but maybe it was just the area. I don't know. A lot of on or off. Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud?
Sure, asking SoundCloud to play Monster Cat Uncaged Volume 1 by Direct, Anavo, Richgi, Orbiter, Glacier, Mern, Reach, Quiet Disorder, Tokyo Machine, Duamu, Monster Cat, Hazo, Slips, Slurs, Stonebank, Rootkit, Unlike Pluto, Bass Nectar, Grant, Darren Styles, Wolfgang Gartner, Nanobi, Nitro Fun, 7 Minutes Dead, Muzzy, Noise Storm, Stephen Walking.
We have arrived. I just need to see what's going on here because that's kind of weird that it's switching on and off and on and off and on and off. Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud? So the modem would be shutting off at this temperature. Battery heat mode. Hey Google, can you... Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud?
Sure, asking SoundCloud to play Monster Cat Uncaged Volume 1 by Direct, Anavo, Richgi, Orbiter, Glacier, Mern, Reach, Quiet Disorder, Tokyo Machine, Duamu, Monster Cat, Hazo, Slips, Slurs, Stonebank, Rootkit, Unlike Pluto, Bass Nectar, Grant, Darren Styles, Wolfgang Gartner, Nanobi, Nitro Fun, 7 Minutes Dead, Muzzy, Noise Storm, Stephen Walking, Mr. Finchwiji, Holly Drummond, Exist Strategy, Toppy, Rogue, Conroe, Aerocord, Zero Hero, Kuro, Dirty Phonics, Pegboard Nerds.
Let's play it.
I'm afraid something went wrong. Please try opening the app to continue.
V6 Sonoma says the evil pumpkin squid seems sus.
Soap I had.
Julian says current bitrate 1763 kilobits per second, RTT 283 milliseconds.
Okay. Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud?
Sure, asking SoundCloud to play Monster Cat Uncaged Volume 1 by Direct, Anavo, Richgi, Orbiter, Glacier, Mern, Reach, Quiet Disorder, Tokyo Machine, Duamu, Monster Cat, Hazo, Slips, Slurs, Stonebank, Rootkit, Unlike Pluto, Bass Nectar, Grant, Darren Styles, Wolfgang Gartner, Nanobi, Nitro Fun, 7 Minutes Dead, Muzzy, Noise Storm, Stephen Walking, Mr. Finchwiji, Holly Drummond, Exist Strategy, Toppy, Rogue, Conroe, Aerocord, Zero Hero, Kuro, Dirty Phonics, Pegboard Nerds.
Let's play it.
I'm afraid something went wrong. Please try opening the app to continue.
V6 Sonoma says the evil pumpkin squid seems sus.
Talk by head. You can get more and more people on it.
Nej, min hånd er meget tom.
Der kommer en her på nu.
Kingle Julian says scene switch to live.
Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud?
Sure, asking.
Kingle Julian says scene switch to live. Kingle Julian says current bitrate 5,365 kilobits per second, RTT 143 milliseconds.
Let's see if that works. Take this with me just in case. You guys all clear? I don't see any dead signals yet. Yet. Can I reach it from here? No, it's probably easier from the other side. It's probably easier from over here. Let's go regret our life decisions. Whoops. This is nice.
Incorrect target says what are you gonna regret?
I said life decisions. I think I'm not sure. Not sure how good the connection out here will be. Hence why regret of life decisions. Because I could imagine there not being much signal out here, which is why we were struggling in like a second ago. The second I stepped out the car, it seemed like it got better. I might have to turn down the bitrate at some point, but we'll... Hey Google, can you play the Twitch FM Monster Cat playlist on SoundCloud?
Asking SoundCloud to play Monster Cat Uncaged Volume 1 by Direct, Anavo, Richgi, Orbiter, Glacier, Mern, Reach, Quiet Disorder, Tokyo Machine, Duamu, Monster Cat, Hazo, Slips, Slurs, Stonebank, Rootkit, Unlike Pluto, Bass Nectar, Grant, Darren Styles, Wolfgang Gartner, Nano B, Nitro Fun, 7 Minutes Dead, Muzzy, Noise Storm, Stephen Walking, Mr. Finchwidgy, Polly Drummond, Exist Strategy, Toppy, Pro, Conroe, Aerocord, Zero Hero, Kuro, Dirty Phonics, Pegboard Nerds.
Let's play it.
I'm afraid something went wrong. Please try opening the app to continue.
V6 Sonoma says the evil pumpkin squid seems sus.
Salt I had. We can get more and more people on it.
Nej, min hånd er meget tom.
Der kommer en mere på nu.
Kingle Julian says scene switched at low bitrate. Kingle Julian says current bitrate 478 kilobits per second, RTT 681 milliseconds. Kingle Julian says switched at live. Kingle Julian says current bitrate 6205 kilobits per second, RTT 136 milliseconds.
We'll see if that works. Or did it just die again? What happened?
Kingle Julian says current bitrate 5,992 kilobits per second, RTT 139 milliseconds.
Okay, I've switched it off so that if the modem dies, I'll hear that the stream went offline. Because what happened there was I was connected to the modem with the phone, and when the modem died, I didn't get the stream went offline message. I'm not sure why the modem keeps switching off though, but I think it might be heat issue. And then it just, when it's the heat issue and it's plugged in, it just keeps turning on its own because it's plugged in. So maybe I can do it without having the modem plugged into its own battery and then use the external battery completely. Maybe that will help with the heat. Although I don't think it can run without a battery in it, so I'll have to test that when I get home. There's a lot of waves out here. And wind. But yeah, yell at me if the stream dies and I don't notice. Pretty cold out here. I can't wait for it to get warmer. It's gonna be nice. It's going to be lovely.
Jingle No Julian says current bitrate 6,321 kilobits per second, RTT 137 milliseconds. Incorrect target says so far so good.
Nice. I just want to check, because with the rapid disconnects we've had the last 30 minutes, I figured rather safe than sorry.
Incorrect target says, and I have no idea when you don. Tino when stream dies LUL.
Yeah, I figured it's fair. Sometimes I notice it straight away, sometimes it takes like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. But like at least if it dies completely, you get the connection loss screen where there's at least something going on. Right?
Stream11 says come join the Prometheus Discord at https://discord.gg/cb7pqrj.
So there is the it. Going out with the fancy ass big ass camera. It's very nice. Probably some really cool photos you can get out here. Also, it must be cool to live in that city, like in general. Like you got all of these boats and whatever going on down here. So like if you live the life as a fisherman, then it's probably like the perfect town to live in. And then like over here it's super calm and quiet, and then you look over there, it's like somewhat uneven, very much the mercy of the wind. And this is a nice road to walk on because it's mainly sand. There's like no big awful rocks to step on. It's just nice and soft. It's like walking on a beach, but without having to dig through the sand. But yeah, it could look like we get a bit of rain coming shortly, looking at the sky, but overall I think we've got most of the rain out of the way today. Also feels like we're in a completely different country looking at the terrain here. Everything is so sandy and stones and I don't know. Everywhere else is just dark dirt. Dirt. All of the dirt. looks a lot different down here than it does from a satellite image. That's for sure.
Julian says current bitrate 6,470 kilobits per second.
Very nice.
RTT 139 milliseconds.
Very nice. Not that deep, this water, but I guess it's very much brackish than anything. Wonder what these signs say. Nice. I don't want to go over here and look, but apparently all of this is privately owned. Which is kind of cool. Someone's digging up wires or burying them. It looks like they were burying them and they only made it this far. Maybe they're gonna be putting up some lamps. That thin wire can only mean that it's not for something that's super load bearing, that's for sure. Or like, can't have a lot of current, that's what I'm trying to say. Very nice. Must be kind of cool living out here though. Like, it's special. It's different. Very different. So there's no entry on that sign up there, so I wonder if we're just going to have to turn around, go back. Who knows, maybe that's what happened. Although the yellow arrow is pointing to the left, and usually the yellow arrows are pointing towards places where you're allowed to go, so kind of makes sense. I think it's just them trying to point out that this is private property. And I don't want people running around in there, which is fair. We could take a walk down either path. I think that one just leads out to the ocean. I think this might eventually take us to the same place, so let's go this way. This way. Try to avoid all the mud and puddles. Just walk
Bird
somewhere.
1KT says hello, Trank.
Hey Bird. Verdict. Hello. How are you doing? But yeah, obviously private owned. Some private people standing there taking a talk. We're just out here walking. Some interesting small. Well, the door's fallen off, that's why. There's a branch we broke. Looks like there's a transformer in there as well. Or maybe a stove of some sort, or a furnace. How are you doing today, Verdict? I don't know if I asked that. Streamer brain takes over sometimes.
Bird 1KT says I'm doing well, thanks.
Nice.
What about you? How is it going today?
It's going pretty alright. We've had a few tech issues already, but I think we've sorted them out. I think some of I think we're down to one problem, and I think it's heat. But it's not heat on the like I don't even know. It's kind of lame. It's my modem that's overheating, but the modem doesn't seem that warm. But then again, that's on the outside of the modem. So maybe if I strip down the modem and then plate it in metal, then they can get rid of the heat. I don't know. Maybe it just needs a fan. To be fair, it's a modem that's usually like lying around like in the outside freely, just on a table or whatever. This is slippery, very slick. And right now it's like well packaged inside of the backpack, so it might just be retaining heat too much. We'll find out. Just gotta make sure I don't slip in the slippery track here. I think it's like a layer of, like you have the regular dirt, but it's very clay dirt. Sort of clay in it. God, why can't I speak? So because there's a lot of clay in it and it's wet, it starts being slippery.
Bird 1KT says unfortunately a lot of mud everywhere.
Yeah, but it's been raining today, so it makes sense. Makes sense. Got the lovely ocean down here, or sea. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. It's gonna be windy up here, be careful. Ooh. Beautiful.
Bird 1KT says what a beautiful view. Very nice.
Yeah, we walked from the city over there, and then we walked all the way out. And now we're just out here on the tippy tip. I think it's, my guess would be about 10 degrees Celsius, but that's probably a bit high. I think it's pretty cold, in all fairness. It'll take a bit of time before it warms up this summer. So maybe about 6 or 7 degrees Celsius if we're on the more realistic side. argue it's pretty cold. It just makes me want to, like, looking at an area like this where it's like, oh, we can actually see land on the opposite side, and you also have the peninsula down there with the lighthouse that you can't see because it's super far away in the distance, but it's the Helnes Peninsula. Like, all that down there, you could go from here by boat.
138 kilobits per second, RTT 1056. Rate 1052 kilobits per second, RTT 1680 milliseconds. Kingelmer Julian says scene switch to low bitrate.
I can understand why the bitrate here would be lower. So I'm just gonna mute that for now. Because we are walking in a place where I'm like, I know that this hill is probably covering for whatever we might receive of a signal. I like this. To be fair, that was expected though. Like, the path we were just walking on, I would have expected that.
Second, RTT 600 milliseconds. Kingelmer Julian says scene switch to connection loss. Current bitrate 2358 kilobits per second, RTT 387 milliseconds. Kingelmer Julian says scene switch to connection lost. Kingelmer Julian says scene switch to low bitrate. Bits per second, RTT 1557 milliseconds. Kingelmer Julian says scene switch to live. Kingelmer Julian says current bitrate 2178 kilobits per second, RTT 1286 milliseconds. Kingelmer Julian says scene
with the signal.
1KT says seems like it's Scotland smiley face. Kingelmer Julian says scene switch to low bitrate. Kingelmer Julian says current bitrate 191 kilobits per second, RTT 1983 milliseconds. Kingelmer Julian says scene switch to live. Kingelmer Julian says current bitrate 541 kilobits per second.
Can I skip these messages somehow?
1751 milliseconds. Kingelmer Julian says scene switch to low bitrate. Kingelmer Julian says current bitrate 456 kilobits per second. RTT 1168. Kingelmer Julian says current bitrate. RTT 1591 milliseconds.
I'm aware that this signal is pretty bad here.
Julian says scene switch to low bitrate. Kingelmer Julian says current bitrate 308 kilobits per second.
I'll skip that because I see it.
715,209 says you can turn it off for now.
Yeah. I think it's just the fact that we're like fluctuating. I'm not sure if it's the modem that's fucking up or if it's actually because the signal here is bad. Like, and that's what I'm mildly worried about, is that it's not because the signal here is actually bad, it's because the modem is freaking out. And like, I need to figure out so that I know that the equipment I have is reliable. Like, that's all I need is reliable equipment. I think like on this next path here, because it looks like it's very much cut off, I think it'll just cut off if the signal here was bad. It should just cut off. I could also, before we go here, turn it down in quality and then see how well we do at lower bit rates. But the minimum I can set it to is 500, which is fair enough. But yeah, I'm peaking on again, so let's get cold one more time.
Kinglemer Julian says scene switch low bit rate. Kinglemer current bit rate 478 kilobits per second. RTT 2320 milliseconds. Kinglemer Julian says scene switch to live. Kinglemer Julian says current bit rate 1300.
I would think if it was the modem that decided to die on me, it would just go to connection loss, and then that would be it.
Kinglemer Julian says scene switch to low bit rate. Kinglemer Julian says current bit rate 403 kilobits per second. RTT 1580 milliseconds. Kinglemer Julian says scene switch to live. Kinglemer Julian says current bit rate 1816 kilobits per second. RTT 197 milliseconds.
That works.
715,200.
Now I won't know if it quits on me though, but I guess we'll keep an eye on it.
Join the previous Discord at https://gg7pqrj.
Guess we shall keep an eye on it. I completely, to be honest. I completely forgot about it. You'll just have to yell at me if it completely dies on us and it never comes online again.
Kinglemer Julian says current bit rate 2635 kilobits per second. RTT 699 milliseconds. 715,209 says seems good.
Nice. I wonder if you maybe
says error. Check the bot command.
Fuck off, Stream Elements. But maybe it already is like that, where you turn the notifications off, but if it loses connection completely, it'll still notify you.
715,209 says seems good so far.
Nice. That's good. We've got a lot of waves here too. Sometimes I think it's just as much me turning sideways and then we're losing a lot of the signal. At least that's what it seems like sometimes. It's just when I turn sideways, it just dies. Yeah, boy. In worst case, I could pull out the antenna and like flop it around like a like a flag. Just need a stick that I can hold it in and I can screw it on and be like, yep, this is me walking around with the antenna. Fuck you guys. It's a nice little house here. A bit weird with the sand, but that's kind of nice. Also like where the sun is shining through, how bright that is. I wonder what it looks like out here in like a good storm. Like how tall do the waves get? Like do they get all the way up? Maybe we'll find out. Definitely tell some of it has disappeared from this spot. It's just through the rain now as well. It's not good. Please go away, rain. We don't have time for you. So I'm just going to stand here and heat up for a second. Become that lovely, lovely reptilian that we all know are. Beep you up. How lovely. A fat ass seagull sitting on a pole down there too. Two of them, one on each pole. Oh, there they go. There they go. I kind of wanted to go all the way out there, but I'm not sure if we're allowed. Because it looks like it's gated for a reason. But I see a cross out there, so I'm wondering what it is. We are curious. It's probably also a nature habitat that's like protected, which is probably why. We can check the sign. Maybe the sign will tell us. Ooh, rare something. Maybe these birds. Oh, that's why they want the dogs in on a leash. How are we looking? Are we still surviving?
Kingelmer Julian says
back up.
current bitrate 6,640 kilobits per second, RTT 145 milliseconds.
We're back up.
Kingelmer Julian says auto switch notification enabled.
We'll see how it goes. Ooh, there's also toads. So all of this is a nature preserve as far as I can tell. Obviously, it would be easy to walk in and breach it, but like I don't know who those people are, or if there's someone who owns it or whatever. We shall continue along this path. Apparently, I think there's where you just have a viewpoint. But yeah, I think all of this like green area up here is what we're seeing out there, and I think that's protected area, is my guess. I see a soccer field or a handball field, and half the forest is gone. Wonder why. Maybe they're just taking down dead trees. Ooh. Take this giant lump with us if we could. It's probably too heavy to carry around, but like that would make for some fine whatever coffee table you could cut out of that. That would be cool. Muddy.
Lover Chief says hello and cheers.
Hey, Love Chief. How you doing? This one as well, like apart from it being cracked, you could obviously take a crack and just like spread it apart, make it like an elongated, like an oval coffee table, and then like fill in the holes with resin.
Says, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We're currently trying to not slip in this muddy path that we're walking on. And then we're exploring the island, or the peninsula I should say, because this is not really an island. I wouldn't be able to get here if it was an island. We need to find a boat so we can take the boat around to all the islands. But yeah, this is a pretty cool place. Pretty cool place.
Lover Chief says, is it cold there?
It's pretty chilly, but it's not too bad over here where we're walking right now, because we're sort of like protected from the wind by all of these trees. But like walking along the north side of this, or whatever side that is, I would reckon it's probably west. Walking along that side of the peninsula, there's a lot of wind coming in, so it was pretty chill. I think with the chill factor, we're probably talking about like freezing temperatures. But over here it's probably about 6-7 degrees. It's not bad. Not bad at all. I feel like I'm an old man the way I'm walking here, as if I shat my pants because I'm trying to not slip.
Lover Chief says LUL.
What are you looking at? We started off the stream by getting some lunch in the city that you see right in front of us right now, actually. Like you have the huge chimney on the right side, and you have the church and a crane in the middle, or whatever that thing is. It's probably not even a church, it's probably it's one of the harbor buildings. There's like a grain holder, like a grain bin, but like an old-fashioned grain bin.
Lover Chief says damn the viewer and cheered.
So that city is called Athens, and the place we walked from is called Tore 1, I think. Tore, I'm not sure on that one. I can't remember the name, but Thor and U. Tore. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Old rotten trees here. It's very nice for the local biodiversity. There's a lot of small insects that love rotting trees.
Kingelmer Julian says current bitrate 2,868 kilobits per second, RTT 149 milliseconds.
That's not bad. It was a lot worse earlier. It's been pretty on this side. It was very unstable on the opposite side of the peninsula. As long as we're above 500, it should be good with this tech, but it might look a bit glitchy every now and then. I'm not sure, because I'm trying to push it to 6,000, but if you can't go to 6,000, maybe it's glitchy. I'm not sure. I'm unsure of that. Well, it looks like if you look at this tree here in front of us, it looks like it's in a storm. It might have snapped that branch off or something. It's like pulled down the bark, or maybe when they cut it, it did it. Although when they cut it, I would be surprised.
Current bitrate 6,704 kilobits per second, RTT 147 milliseconds.
It might also just be dependent on where I'm standing. That's a very good observation by me. Super science. Looks like they've cut it so it fell down that way. It's a beautiful job they've done with like rounding off the edges afterwards. Like that's not normally something you see. I kind of wanted to see if we can go out further out on the tip of this place, and it kind of looks like there's a pole here that has a sign on it, but it's been knocked over, which I have no idea where that would have been standing. Maybe it's just where it is. So many nice cut-offs of this tree as well. Like these are some pretty fucking solid wood. Like, damn. Like if you were just making a sculpture, a piece like that would just be perfect, because it looks like it doesn't have any cavities or anything in it either. Maybe that's the next thing we'll come up with, is wood sculpting. Who knows, maybe. I need to see what it says on the sign down here, because I saw people walking out there, but if the sign just says fuck off, this is our place, then of course we'll just fuck off. But it does look like it also says that the gate is closed. But I thought I saw people walking out there. Yeah, they're walking out there.
715,209 says LUL.
They're walking out there. But maybe we're allowed. Maybe we are allowed. Så vi på väg eiendom. All dogs must be kept in a leash everywhere, also along the coast. Breaking this rule will get you a charge. I guess they'll press charges if you break the rules, is what they're saying. Look at how calm the water is down here. That's nice. It's very, very clear water too, like you can see straight through it. It's great. You can hear the roar of the water on the opposite side of the peninsula, and over here it's just like completely calm.
715,209 says Pogsham.
Hell yeah. And all of these like small, it looks like worms, but all of them are like places where clams are like shut up the sand. So like they're slowly scooping up the sand, and then it turns into these small like worm-looking figures in the water. But I figure that the reason why they have a fence here is to keep people out.
715,209 says any crabs.
I don't see any crabs. We should go crab fishing one day. That'd be fun. I'm pretty sure we could find a place with lots of crabs and then just fish them all up. And let them go afterwards, of course, but all of a sudden we could find a bunch of crabs. And like, it looks like people have jumped this fence several times. I'm gonna wait and see where there's some people behind us. I'm gonna wait and see where they go. But yeah, like, I don't want to jump the fence, even though it's probably easy to do it. Could even walk around it, no problem. But yeah, I don't see any crabs. The crabs are usually hiding in the seaweed.
715,209 says, why is there a fence?
So this entire area here is probably protected nature reserve. And I reckon the reason why there's a fence here is to make sure people don't just walk into it. But I'm not sure actually. It might also be that they have grazing animals walking around down here sometimes, and then the fence is just to prevent the grazing animals from once again walking into a nature reserve. It's also possible. That's usually what it is. It's usually because there's someone who has a pasture, and then to prevent the grazing animals from just eating up the entire nature preserve, they fence it off. Because grazing animals are fucking savages. They'll eat everything.
$715,209 says LUL.
Savages. But it does look like there's a gate that opens up here, so we can just go walk through that. That's where these other two people went through. I just didn't want to be the guy who like trespassed on stream. Although it's probably super fun. But yeah, that would also be why we have this electric fence here. It might also be that they're grazing animals on the nature reserve. I'm not actually sure about that. I could imagine though, but it looks like they have like a pasture gate here, you know. And then this gate just stands here being open, and it's like it's pretty blocked. I'm gonna try and close it without ruining it even more. But yeah, it kind of feels like the landscape changed completely here. Maybe there's sheep out here sometimes. Sheep are a bit less aggressive than cows are when it comes to like eating shit that they shouldn't eat. Goats too. But I'm quite pleased with how stable the stream has been. Like, it was obviously on the other side, but again, I can't demand that the connection is good in a place that has no connection. I'm just gonna get used to that. Well, not get used to it, but just accept it. It would be really interesting if you had a time machine of sorts that could take you back in time to like before all of this was inhabited by humans, and like a lot of it would just have been marshlands. Like, see what Denmark actually looked like when it was what it's become to be known for, a marshland. Some big ass bird feet. It's been walking around here. I wouldn't drink that water either. It looks like it's still standing water with no oxygen in it whatsoever. You'd probably die from that. Tons of bacteria. Whoa, that was slippery. That's what she said. Caca. I also want to go see it because there's a cross, like I think I mentioned it a few times now, but there is a cross. Also, there's this huge black cloud in front of, well, grey cloud. Looks like it could drop a few droplets of rain. It even looks like that out of the distance when you're looking at the sun rays. So I'll have to be quick, but I want to go see what that cross is. Maybe it's memorial for something interesting. Either that or it's just where somebody is going to come and like beat us to death with an axe and then bury us there. Maybe it's predetermined.
715,209 says maybe Rainbow Pogsham.
Oh yeah, that would. Rainbows are difficult to capture on camera though. There's some elusive little fuckers. That reminds me of I think it was Died in Oakland, Wildcat and all of those peeps playing Cards Against Humanity, and one of the cards was every Easter we send the kids out to find blank, and it was like it said every Easter we send out the kids to find Jesus. Still can't find that fucker. I just thought that was hilarious. Still can't find that fucker. Hell yeah.
715,209 says LUL.
That sounds like a good Easter. What did you guys do for Easter this year? Oh, we sent the kids out to find Jesus.
Ninja Bartender _ says hi. Ninja Bartender,
hey, Ninja Bartender
_ says Concha.
Hello. Hope you're doing good. If not, then you better do. It's not a choice.
$715,209 says when was Easter? I didn't even notice it passing by.
We haven't had it yet. Easter is through the weekend where we switch from March to April this year.
715,209 says oh it's next month LUL.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably have some streams during Easter, I think, depending on work situation. Because I do have a massive thing coming up around that date with work. I can't really go into details. Oh my goodness. People are like, what are you doing in your spare time? Yeah, we just walk around out in the middle of fucking nowhere. That's what I do with my spare time.
715,209 says too much chocolate creegasm.
That's when you need a sugar mama. Oh ma. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's kind of a thing, like every time I go into someone's stream and like I'm like, hey, what's up? And then it's like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, are you sure? Do you even care? So I think instead of like asking people how they're doing, we just gotta tell them to do well, do good. And it's not because I want to be rude, it's just I know that feeling of when people ask like, how are you doing? And I'm like, you know, the usual.
715,209 says LUL, yes, it's a generic question.
You're going to tell people to do good. I don't know, people don't really mean anything bad by it, but it's just like, oh yeah, I'd rather not think about how I'm doing. We're alive. It's a nice way of greeting each other and there's nothing wrong with it, not at all. I think I'm gonna punch it into my own face that we're just gonna say do good. Yeet. Oh, the wind is starting to catch up here. That is a beautiful sight in front of us though. Can't argue with that.
715,209 says it's amazing you have this good connection in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems like every time we go to the city, it just turns to fucking complete absolute garbage and monkey shit. And then we go out here in the middle of nowhere and it's like, huh, great. Fantastic. All we need to do to get good connection is just stop trying, I guess. That's what they're telling us. Stop trying. I don't know, I don't think that's true though. I think it's just a matter of fact that even though we are in the middle of nowhere, there's a giant ass city over there. We're probably getting some of the tower signals from there, as well as along the coastline there. So it's pretty flat here, there's no trees, anything to block it from us, and I'm pretty tall, so I'm catching the top of everything. Where we were struggling with signal was on that side over there, and it's like you have all the trees and the terrain that's like blocking the signal. So like, it makes perfect sense that we have a good signal right here.
715,209 says a nice Kriegasm.
But over there it makes no sense. Like, over there I could see why we were struggling with the signal. But I'm kind of surprised that we didn't struggle more than we did. Like, you get up into the town all the way across this peninsula.
715,209 says, but those dark clouds, munkers.
Yeah, they're pretty dark. It looks like we could get a lot of rain within like the next hour or two. Maybe 30 minutes depending on the wind. So maybe we should speed up. Maybe you're right. Stop rambling, CosmoJaeger. I still need to get used to my new name myself. Don't worry about it. Stop rambling, Cosmo. It'll take a while, I think. Although I did say that I will always be trying.
715,209 says, how far can 5 grams travel on open land?
See, that's the good question, because 5G is a different frequency band. Because I can feel the rain, so it's going to be interesting. It's a different frequency, so it would depend on like how. It would basically depend on the frequency. I need to look up that stuff. I'm not even sure about the 5G frequencies, like how much bouncy and stuff.
715,209 says, alright, not so far right.
It's a giant ass cross here in the middle of nowhere. It is probably a memorial, and I feel the rain. Go away, rain. We don't have time for you.
Hello07 says, changed your name there, sir.
Hello, Hill. Yes, we did. Or I did. What is this a memorial for? It's just a cross here, like, wait, we are Christians. Go away. Or what's going on here? I was expecting there to be like a plaque that says like, here lies Sir Rommelnot, disaster man. But no. It's just a giant ass cross made out of granite. But yes, I did change my name, and now I have this name everywhere instead of like being 600 different names. If you want to get a short explanation of why, there you go.
Tranquilizer has rebranded to CosmoJaeger. This new name comes from a desire to have a name that is more relatable. In Danish, the word Jaeger means hunter, so it's someone who is hunting across the realm or the cosmos for interesting adventures and stories.
There you go. Just a little bit of a quick explanation as to why. I think it makes perfect sense. And then CosmoJaeger in itself has a bunch of references, so that I like it. It's fun, and it just sounds badass. I can smell the salt water as it's slamming against the side of the land. We made it. Look at these massive waves too. But yeah, that looks bad. Looks like we're gonna get very wet very quickly when that hits here. Especially because the wind is going this way. How close can we get without getting wet, you ask? Too much better that way, to be honest. It looks pretty dark everywhere, apart from like just above us. So yeah, I reckon we should start heading the other way. Well, yeah, I recognize that a lot of the time, like the last 16 years, I've been known as Tranquilizer, or Tranquilizer, depending on like which era of my life you ran into me. A lot of the time I've just been Trank. And well, yeah, for like the majority of those 16 years, it's probably just been Trank because it's a lot easier. And it's very cool that it's like, oh, you just call me Trank, it's perfectly fine, works out just marvelous. Like, I don't mind the shorts either, like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind if you call me Cosmo, if you call me Trank, if you call me Jaeger, like, I don't mind any of those at all. But then I started doing the IRL stuff like 2 years ago, and people would come up to me and ask, oh, where can I find your channel, or how can I find you? And it would be like, you just need to go to Twitch TV/Tranquilizer, and they look at me like, what the fuck are you just saying? Like, I have no idea what you just said. Is it the English? Is it the Spanish version? Is it the Portuguese version? Like, so many different possibilities of like when you're speaking out loud for people to misunderstand it.
209 says LUL.
Which I could understand. So CosmoJaeger is a bit easier. I get it, you can still spell Cosmo and Jaeger, you can spell them all different ways, but if you just go by sound and CosmoJaeger, it's somewhat straightforward, somewhat. I get it, it's not perfect. And because CosmoJaeger is a unique name, that also means if I ever get the website up and running, which I'm planning to do, making search engine optimizations for CosmoJaeger or anything that has to do with IRL streaming is going to be a lot easier. So I can push my name up to the top because it's unique. On top of that, all of the different social media platforms, CosmoJaeger wasn't taken on it. So I now am the owner of all the CosmoJaegers out there. Pretty much, apart from a few platforms probably, I wouldn't be surprised.
715,209 says my name is too hard for COLUL.
I could see that being a bit of a problem, yeah. It's definitely not easy when you're searching for no ALBS either. No ALBS Googling is kind of difficult to find. I think for some people it will show up towards the top now because it's like Google has figured out that that's what you meant. But if you're completely without any ties or any relations to it whatsoever, it's actually pretty hard to find no ALBS. So that's one thing to keep in mind for you. I don't know how much you care about that. But also, like, what do people actually search for if they're looking for IRL streamers? Do they even go searching, or do they just go look on Twitch? And I feel like if they go looking on Twitch, it's going to be difficult for them to find anything because Twitch is just a pile of fucking garbage when it comes to like discoverability. Like, we can use the tags and all, but how many people here know how to use the tags when you're searching for a channel? I reckon not that many. And then again, like, what does the tags matter when you have people who are sitting there playing Fortnite, recording with their phone, sending it to Twitch, streaming in like beauty and body art? Like, come on Twitch, wake the fuck up. So there's that. It all of a sudden got very dark, I feel. And it looks like this is just gonna come in a second. It's just gonna be piss pouring rain. Ooh, I'm looking forward to it. And then on top of that, King Lemur also, like, he used to have his own website. He's gonna get that again with all the quotes and all of the other fancy interesting things on it, probably. We're gonna see if I can implement something there for sure. I don't know how much I'm gonna go in depth with that, but like, when I get time and I get the brain capacity to do it, it's gonna be done. And then there's a bunch of stuff I want to do with that as well. One of which would be to get all the quotes we have, either have a professional voice actor do them. It's a lot of quotes, so it's gonna be a lot of money, or
715,209 says I saw the Kinglemure code made my head hurt LUL. Kinglemure Julian says everything you can imagine is real.
I mean, the King Lemur Julian code is not even that complicated, but I could see it from someone who's never worked with what I work with. I could see it being a bit like, what the fuck is going on here? But it's basically just an integration to... oh shit. It's basically just an integration to Twitch and then the chatbot part of that. So it's nothing major, it's nothing complicated as such, and then it has a few dynamic commands and things like that. I could imagine Nightbot and so forth being a bit more complicated. But yeah, the thing is, I mainly work in the .NET stack, so a lot of the things I do is just .NET, because it's easier for me. Need to work a bit with Angular coming up, but it's also whatever.
$715,209 says I worked with C# but so many files and not like this.
So yeah, there's different ways of approaching it, right? When you have an overall idea of what the concept is and you split it into the different layers of architecture, it becomes a lot easier. And then on top of that, I'm very used to working with small parts of a program at a time, so I can work with a massive system but I'm working with the details, and each detail in themselves need to just work 100% on their own, and then later you put them together to get the bigger picture. So you have a bunch of details that makes a bigger picture, and that's why everything is split into so many small details, is because then I have much more control of every single detail than I would have if I had massive files of 2,000 lines of code.
Says, yeah, that makes sense.
Because when you have a big file of 2,000 lines of code, you could essentially have 3 or 4 different concepts housed in that piece of code, and you could easily split them up into more pieces. And it also depends on like what domain you're working with. I'm a huge fan of a concept that's known as domain-driven design, and I think it's a very good way of approaching it. And I'm not saying it's like the only way to approach things. I'm saying it has a lot of pros compared to the cons when it comes to designing a system, depending on what you're designing. Like if you're working with games, domain-driven design is probably not the way to go. But if you're working with enterprise systems and really big systems, then domain-driven design becomes a ubiquitous language for you to speak with the business partners. Because if I go out and I talk with one of the business partners, who is the ones that are hiring us to make the software, and I can just talk to them like they would talk to their business partners about how the program or whatever the business they're doing, however that works. If I don't have to translate between that and machine code, it's a lot easier for us to make features that they want. So if they're coming in and telling us, hey, we have a problem with this feature about like a customer order, and I'm like, immediately I know, oh, they're talking about customer orders. I know exactly where to go look in the code, because all of the things in the code is named appropriately after that. So it's just it depends on what you're working with, for sure. I'd say for something like encoders and integrations like no ALBS, it probably does not make too much sense going the full route. I could see that being a lot of work for nothing. And you could say the same thing with King Lemur. It's probably a lot of work for nothing. But also I have things split into like
715,209 says Nolbs is pretty small.
I have everything in Lemur, I have it split into like components. So every time someone has a chat command, it hits my list of like they're implementing the interface that they say I command or whatever. Can't remember the specific names. But then I know that if I have a problem with a command, okay, usually it's one of my classes that is called whatever command. They all follow that naming structure. So let's say if it's the ping command, someone is using the ping command and I have no idea why it doesn't work. I just go into Visual Studio and then I Control T, ping command, enter, and then I'm looking at the file that might have an issue. Everything around that file, like how I grab the command and how I find out that it's the ping command that needs to be executed and all of that, is sort of like completely decoupled. Like that logic is elsewhere. There's somewhere else that like makes sure that it grabs the command identifier and fires that command off. Also, it just started raining. I didn't bring the umbrella. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Anyways, nerd. I speak a lot of nerd. And I'm also out of breath because we're walking while talking and forgetting to breathe.
$715,209 says nerd is good kappa.
It's one of those things that you can clearly tell when you meet someone that has a passion. They can just start talking about it for hours. and they won't shut up. It's kind of like that for me with programming. And like September, actually I don't even know, like the beginning of 2019 all the way until like a month or two ago, I started like getting to the point where my passion was like slowly dying out and wasn't really that fun. Because a lot of the work that I'd been doing up until then was just taking orders and like, hey, sit down and code this feature for someone, they would really like that. And like there's been no like how to design the feature or none of the architecture, and that's all of the things that I really have a passion about. It's like how do we take some of this and make it into like a decent architecture, so that when they come in the future they say this feature is a pile of garbage.
715,209 says it's been the same all the time.
When they have a problem with that feature, like how do we make it so we can easily adjust this feature without breaking the entire system, or yeah, you know, all of that. So that's been a big part of like what I've learned and how I've worked, is making everything so modular that it's easily replaceable. And then there's the balance of like, how do you do that without ending up having chaos where everything is so disorganized you can't figure out what's what. And if you first grasp the madness of the structure that I have, then it's going to be super easy for you to work with it, I feel. But there's that learning curve at first, like you need to understand why I'm thinking like the madman I do. And that's not always a good thing, because then you back into like, how do we onboard new developers if we need to like get a new developer on the team, or I decide to quit my job, how easy is it for them to take over and carry on with whatever I started, and all of that. And all of those concerns, a lot of the time, if you work with some developers, it's never been a thought. It's never ever been like, how do I make sure that whatever I deliver today is something that someone can carry on with in half a year. And I'm saying just half a year, because like half a year, oh, that's not too bad. Like sometimes like half a year that goes by pretty quickly. And the most fun thing about that entire approach is also that I learned that someone else who's taking over your project in 6 months, it might not even be someone else, it might even be yourself. So how do I make sure that when I come back to my own code in 6 months, with all the new things that I've learned since then, I don't sit there and scratch my head and think, what the fuck was he doing?
715,209 says, yeah, definitely have to spend a week learning what your thought process was.
And a week is, like if I might pat myself on the shoulder and say good job, a week is not that bad if you think about it. In some cases, taking over a system from someone, regardless of the size, can take months, years. So if it took a week, I don't know, I'm just taking this number as you said it, I'm just grasping at it, maybe it wasn't a week, maybe it was more, maybe it was less.
715,209 says true.
That's not too bad. Ooh, this is muddy. Perfect. But like, I'm always improving. There's always some things I made back in the day where I'm like, what was this crazy man thinking? What the fuck? And sometimes there's a tendency, at least for me.
715,209 says ha ha ha.
For me, there's sometimes the tendency to take something that should have been pretty simple and then overcomplicating it, because it's like, oh, I could do this in a fancy way, so I'm just going to do this, and then all of a sudden it turns into the most complicated shit ever. I'm wondering what's going on here. Whoa.
715,209 says, are we waterproof, Monkus?
We're not waterproof now. Not at the moment. Not at the moment. What was going on there? That was weird. But it's not raining like super crazy, so I'm not too worried. I reckon you are asking because there's like water on the lens or something like that. I probably smudged it and made it even worse. The reason why I was covering the camera was because when I turned that corner, I just saw a piece of bare skin, and I was like, oh, there's something that's not right here. Like, someone could be taking a piss in nature. I don't give a fuck. They can do whatever they want. But there's two people, and both of them were pulling up their pants, so I'm not really sure what was going on there. That was, so that's when I started like reaching up and being like, I'm not sure what's going on here.
715,209 says LUL.
I mean, each to their own, but if I was getting something, I probably wouldn't be lying out here in the wet grass in the middle of a bit of rain. I feel like that sounds pretty uncomfortable. Like, if you were that needy, just teach each other until you get back home. Like, keep it going, keep it like on the edge, keep it frisky.
715,209 says, you know, some people like the kappa.
I guess, I don't judge, whatever, you can do what you want, but I was just thinking, just keep it going until you get home, like keep it frisky, and then when you get home, just fucking drop your clothes at the door, and then just fucking run to the bathroom and fucking go for it, right? Although
715,209 says, haha.
Although some people do like that, like the risque of maybe we get caught. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not too worried about the water as long as it's like just like this. We're getting wet, but it's not like soaking us. Like the phone is pretty wet, but it's not too bad. I have a good amount of confidence in this camera after having seen some of the IRL streamers take this camera and like plop into a river with it on without it having casing or anything on, like having it just like I have it now, falling into the water and stream cutting out and everything. It was great. The best clip I've ever seen. How to lose $4,000 to $6,000 worth of equipment in an instant. Very fun.
$715,209 says, you mean the Magnetron one?
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, what is he called? Magnetron IRL, I think? I'm not even sure. I just remember seeing that clip on Twitter and being like, oh goodness.
715,209 says, I was watching that when it happened, LUL.
Forever be known as the guy who fell in the river. It's almost as good as the Summit 1G. Full Summit. I could just see me talking shit about all of this, and then the second the stream just cuts and it's like, oh, I guess I shouldn't be talking shit.
$715,209 says LUL.
I can just see it for me. But yeah. Got a bit of water on your lens there, bud. also getting hold of a lens protector, but I'm waiting for it to ship, and apparently they don't have it in stock until the 17th of March, I think. So it'll be a while. It'll be a tiny bit of time before it gets here.
Inglemer Julian says current bitrate 6,545 kilobits per second, RTT 139 milliseconds.
That's not bad. That's pretty decent. It's a lot better than when we started out in this area where it was just like massive ass. Starting to pick up a bit, and it's starting to become bigger droplets of water. But yeah, apart from that side of this peninsula, I think we have pretty good signal out here. I wish I had my compass with me so I could tell you which side is that side. Because I think it's to the west. I'm not entirely sure. But it makes sense because there's literally no towers on this island. Or peninsula. I keep calling it an island. But there's no towers out here. So it makes sense.
Dream11 says come join the Prometheus Discord at https://discord.gg/cb7pqrj.
More slashes. I do also apologize for the people who might have been watching on YouTube where there's been absolutely no interaction with chat. But we're using IRL chat today, and IRL chat does not support YouTube chat. I'm thinking if I maybe need to stop streaming to YouTube, although I would like to continue it, but maybe I just disable the chat or something. I'm not sure, just to make sure that the expectations are exactly what is. And then leave a lovely link in the bottom if you want to talk with the broadcaster. Go to Twitch or something like that until we figure out multi-chat. Because I do like having the VOD stored on YouTube instead of Twitch, just simply because whatever goes on YouTube, there's an actual chance of getting discovered. Whereas on Twitch, it's more so of a risk of getting the MCA striked, which is why there is no VODs or clips on Twitch now on my channel. But it's not because I'm worried that we'll get in those kind of troubles.
Ginglemer Julian says scene switch to low bitrate. Ginglemer Julian says current bitrate 350 kilobits per second, RTT 2229 milliseconds. Ginglemer Julian says scene switch to live. Ginglemer Julian says current bitrate 2369 kilobits per second, RTT 203 milliseconds.
Actually, it makes sense because we were walking behind a house when that happened. Like, I'm out walking the dog, but it's raining, so we're gonna run instead. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it seems fun. How much water do we have on the lens? Is it bad? Or is it okay? I'm gonna watch out that we don't get eaten by the sausage dog. We didn't get eaten by the sausage dog, that was good. GG, we made it past the first boss.
715,209 says hello fellow humans.
Goodbye, fellow humans. Stay away, you COVID spreaders.
$715,209 says LUL.
May Christ compel you! Or whatever they scream. I don't know. Maybe that's not what it is. May the doctor compel you! Oh. My Lord, have mercy on my soul. Looks like there's a lot of water flowing through here right now. That's nice. Very nice. Maybe just stumble up on this like somewhat solid ground now. Nice. We're walking in like soft ground all the way now. And then now we're back to somewhat solid. And look at this lovely, lovely water. Oh, I get to stretch my back out. It's great. Love it. It looks like there's a lot of clams on the bottom here, but a lot of them are open.
715,209 says it's so clear.
It's very clear. It's very nice. But I feel like ocean water is always pretty clear. Like until you get to the point where you like it's very deep. But yeah, it looks very nice. It looks like this is probably the place to go if you want to go bathe in the summer. Like go down to the beach down there. I don't want to mess around too much outside right now if it's gonna get even worse raining. But I feel like it's pretty steady. We could just go out and look at what it looks like from the beach. Oh, there's actually a sign here that probably explains what this cross means. All the way back at the early Hunter Stone Age, 5.4 to 3.9 thousand before Christ, there's a cross on a place where there was a gravel, what do you call it? Gravel quarry. And we found skeletons of an adult and 2 children from far, far ago. There's a statue that's called Thor's fight with the what do you call those?
715,209 says sad face.
But yeah, it's believed that the grave of the skeletons of an adult and 2 children is from an early what is that, like early ancient time? I don't even get how that is translated. That's awful. Can we have a sign in English, please, so I don't have to like worry about that? That would be great. And then there was a statue, like I mentioned, Thor's battle against the Yetis or whatever. Not Yetis. Those evil creatures in the Norse mythology that has an English name that I cannot remember. Trolls? I don't even know. Whatever. But that statue has been moved into the city of Odense on a museum instead of being out here. Which kind of sucks, but hey. That's how it goes sometimes. People make weird decisions. Is it gonna rain even more now that we're walking out here? Is that what's happening? I should have brought the umbrella.
Incorrect target says wow, it's not in English. I'm used to most things being also translated to English in DK.
Yeah, it only had the Danish translation. I'm not sure why. But yeah, you're right. Usually when there's a sign like that, it's also in English somewhere. Or they have like a tiny pamphlet or whatever that's translated.
715,209 says, what is this huge field though?
This looks like, I don't know, some playground for children or whatever. Where you can play football, and then if your comrades, some of my comrades and myself probably have an odd football foot, what will happen is you'll shoot the ball into the river or into that mass of water, and then everybody's going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake, Richard.
715,209 says, no, I don't mean this, lol.
I'm not sure what a huge field you're talking about then. I was only reading about the cross. I didn't read the rest of it, I must say. Oh my god, this is slippery.
715,209 says what you're walking on right now.
Oh, I think it's just a marsh to get out onto the ocean. God damn, this is slippery. Like I'm shooting my legs backwards. I don't even know if you can tell it where I walked. It's like all those really awful footprints. That's me. What the fuck, man? It's like walking on the sheet of ice. This is crazy. This is even more slippery than ice. Oh nice, there's a jetty out here. Jetty. What does this say? This is showering for girls, I guess it says. I don't see any ladies out here. Nope, no ladies. Looks like that could be cold as well. Being on this bridge is on your own responsibilities. Okay. But yeah, like I said, this is probably the place where people could go for a swim in the summer, although you probably have to wear shoes because there's a lot of rocks here. Ooh, some tall waves out here. It's a pretty nice sight though. Pretty nice. And then you have the lovely city. We get another big wave in a second.
Incorrect target says I can smell all this electronics on you, might soon go swimming.
Nah, it's pretty nicely tied down to be fair. pretty nicely tied down. See a bunch of people coming this way though. So we should start heading back before then, but yeah, this is a nice way.
Current bitrate 3,856 kilobits per second, RTT 174 milliseconds.
It's an interesting quick drop we had there. Very nice. Back to the
low bitrate. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 499 kilobits per second, RTT 1013 seconds. Kingle Merjulian says scene switch to live. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 796 kilobits per second, RTT 1928 milliseconds. Kingle Merjulian says scene switch to low bitrate. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 361 kilobits per second, RTT 1096 milliseconds. Kingle Merjulian says scene switch to live. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 701 kilobits per second, RTT 1010 milliseconds. Kingle Merjulian says scene switch to low bitrate. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 1,328 kilobits per second, RTT 2,561 milliseconds. Kingle Merjulian says scene switch to live. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 2,369 per second, RTT 667 milliseconds.
I think my modem is fucking up again. At least that's what it seems like.
Kingle Merjulian says scene switch to low bitrate. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 425 kilobits per second, RTT 1209 milliseconds.
I mean, well, it might also just be the
says current bitrate
direction we're standing in.
425 kilobits per second.
But the reason why I'm saying it's fucking up is modem again.
Switch to live. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate.
That's exactly the issue I had yesterday.
43 kilobits per second, RTT 2100.
Is that my own modem doesn't show up on the Wi-Fi list.
Kingle Merjulian says scene switch to low bitrate. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 318 kilobits per second, RTT 1263 milliseconds. Kingle Merjulian says scene switch to live. Kingle Merjulian says current bitrate 1,689 kilobits per second, RTT 151 milliseconds. 715,209 says nice spam what face. 715,209 says maybe a modem went down. StreamElements says error, check the bot command setup. CosmoJaeger says I only have one modem.
I don't know, it seems like my phone is refusing to find,
715,209 says OLUL.
I think it might be just the signal with my body, because we're probably getting the signal from down here. And because of the direction I was walking, maybe we were just blocking the signal, I don't know. I would have hoped that the 4G signal would be able to penetrate bodies, but I mean, I could see there being a loss of amplitude. For sure, but still. Just gonna see if I can wash all this mud off my shoes.
715,209 says it's going up.
Yeah, so it's probably just out of reach. But it still doesn't make me feel like I still can't see my modem on the Wi-Fi list. which is weird. Like, why can I not see my own Wi-Fi?
715,209 says you should be able to see the stats in Belai.
I can see, well, the thing is, I could see the stats in Bela UI if it wasn't because I'm not on the modem with my phone. And that's why I'm trying to connect to the modem, is because I just connect with the Wi-Fi, but I can't find the Wi-Fi signal to the modem. So that's the entire predicament.
715,209 says, oh weird.
And it's like, it's an M1 Nighthawk, like that shit should just work. You pay that amount of money for something, it should just work. But it's just been fucking horrible the last 2 days, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So we shall. Maybe you.
Julian says scene switched at low bitrate. Kingle Julian says current bitrate 308 kilobits per second. RTT 102 milliseconds. Kingle Julian says scene switched at. Kingle Julian says current bitrate 6,481 kilobits per second. RTT 144 milliseconds. Streamer Lemons says come join the Prometheus Discord at https://discord.gg/cb7pqrj.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, like I would expect to be able to like get hold of the network, but I can't. So I'm just gonna take a look at that real quick while they're just standing here anyways. I mean, maybe it is too warm for it to be Wi-Fi mode, but still. The signal is very bad in here. 1 bar, but 4G. But why no Wi-Fi? Why are you being a bitch? There we go, I just need to touch it, then it works. I don't get it. Now I should have connected to the Wi-Fi. Which it says it did.
Kingle Julian says current bitrate 6,279 kilobits per second. RTT 148 milliseconds.
That seems alright. Come on, fucking backpack, stop doing that. Just need to put the phone in the holder for the phone and then kill everyone with a heart attack while we're at it. Oh, when signal is dropping rapidly. And I need to go to this page.
Head southeast on Fiskemine toward Dredget, then turn left onto Dredget.
Sure thing. Let's see. Maybe I try and lower the maximum rate as well.
$715,209 says look at those clouds move Kriegasm.
Yeah, it goes pretty fast. It's funny because when you're just moving around on the ground, you normally notice it. Oh, what a nice hair I have. What a nice hairdo. Oh my goodness. Let's hope there's nobody coming down here because I can't see them.
Turn left onto Dredget. It's VJ.
Sure.
Turn left.
which I'm not surprised because the signal here was pretty bad earlier, but
take the next left onto Tora Hughes VJ.
chat should be back according to my thing. To the left, to the left.
$750,209 says
Continue
hey
on
guys.
Tora Hughes VJ for 1.5 kilometers.
Hey guys. I said hey, 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 hey. I said hey. What's going on? Oops. But yeah, I don't get it how they can make a modem, call it the Nighthawk M1, and flash their titty itty bitties about it being able to do 1 gigabit connections when it gets overheated. At fucking 6 megabit. Like, we're 994 megabit from the advertised number. Just saying.
In 400 meters, turn right onto Sondra Ringvej.
Just saying.
Take the next right onto Sondra Ringvej.
To the right, to the right.
Continue on Sondra Ringvej for 800 meters.
That wasn't that far.
In 500 meters, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Austria Ringvej, route 313.
At the roundabout. think it's time we start headed home because I feel like I need a shower. A shower would probably be nice, and then just fucking fall flat face down on the bed and die. Sounds like a good plan.
Exit the roundabout onto Ostra Ringvej. Continue on Route 313 for 1 kilometer. In 600 meters, at the roundabout, take the second exit and stay on Ostra Ringvej, Route 313.
But overall today, I think it's been a lot more smooth than I was fearing it would be. Particularly because yesterday was a shit show, to say it mildly.
Exit the roundabout onto Ostra Ringvej. Continue on Route 313 for 3 kilometers.
I think that the roaming was enabled might have had something to do with yesterday's shit show, and then I think I need to figure out, just give the modem a bit more space in the backpack so that it has some, like, it can breathe a bit. I think it's relying on passive cooling, so it's a problem when it's completely insulated, I guess. Which makes sense, but it's just, I would have expected it to not be a problem at all. Who knows, maybe I'll get so tired and frustrated off it, I'll just fucking split it apart and make a custom for it. That would be cool. Literally. Very punny. Become green, please. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out as well. It's always a pleasure.
In 600 meters, turn right onto Ringvej, Route 307.
To the right.
Gingelmer Julian says scene switch to low bitrate. Gingelmer Julian says take the next right onto Ringvej, Route 307. Second, RTT 2530 milliseconds. Gingelmer Julian says scene switch to live. Gingelmer Julian says current bitrate 1583. Continue on Route 307 for 9 kilometers, 494 milliseconds. 715,209 says not a lot of people here today, sad face.
I mean, I did start kind of early as well, and I had 1 week of a break, and yesterday was a shit show, so like, I don't blame them. We've also changed the name, so a lot of people might be like, who the fuck is this guy? I never follow this person. So essentially I'm gonna start, like, we're starting from scratch when it comes to reputation, which is to be expected. But I think I can push it a lot with this name. Otherwise I wouldn't have switched.
second. RT 2000.
Content creator?
Says scene switched to live.
Like, my goal is not to become the next big content creator. That's never been the goal. Goal is to have fun and share what I experience with the world. And a lot of this is also my own recuperation from stress and depression. So like a lot of the things that I do is mostly for myself. Very, very selfish person. And I find it a lot more fun to share it with people. It gives the opportunity to talk about a few things as we're walking around as well. And especially in the time during COVID, it gives people that kind of like little break they might need from whatever they're doing. Get out and see what's going on. I could see we would probably have a few good highlight possibilities from today's stream. Like I'd take that and cut it into like a short little video, call it like a short story or whatever you want to call it, of like today's trip. Basically just the highlights of the stream. Some people might find that and think, oh, that's kind of interesting. I would love to have seen that when it happened. And then, you know, word spreads, people talk. And then I'm also just pushing my own knowledge when it comes to technology, because a lot of these things, like one of my goals that I had written down was actually to possibly get the live view solo. And the reason why I wanted the live view solo was to push 1080p at 60 FPS. But we're capable of doing that just fine with the setup I have now. Obviously I have a few kinks that I need to figure out, but like had I had the live view solo and I would have had it up and running and all of that, I would still have a modem that would have died of a heat stroke, because that's how I installed it. It's still the modem that's at fault. It's not even the Jetson Nano or the BelaBox. Like all of that has functioned absolutely flawlessly. It's the modem that's being an issue right now. So like I'm learning a few things about the gear that I have and how to properly manage it in the backpack. And all of this is what you essentially pay someone else to do when you just buy it off the shelf, is that they've gone through all of this problem solving of figuring out, oh, we got a modem that's overheating and all of that. Sometimes they've gone through that, sometimes they haven't. So there might not be a lot of people here today, but those of you who are hanging out, I hope you're having a good time. And those who aren't hanging out, well, maybe they'll catch the VOD, maybe they're doing something else that's more productive or more important to them right now. Who knows? I can't blame them.
715,209 says laughing face.
I think for me, one of my next personal goals in my life is possibly buying a house. That's probably one of the next big things that I need to like write down on my little list of things to do and figure all of that out, because it's a thing that I really want to do, and it can also give possibility of sharing all the mistakes that I make. And I don't know how many people out there.
Says scene switched to low bitrate. Kingle Julian says current bitrate 191 kilobits per second. RTT 323.
I don't know how many people out there go through all of the mistakes you make when you buy a house and you have to like possibly renovate a few things or whatever. But I think it could be quite a journey, and I would love to share my journey. Call it like an autobiography documentary that is live. That's pretty badass. What do you do in your spare time? I autobiography my life. Literally auto. So yeah, is there anyone live that you would like us to go raid? Let me know.
In 500 meters, your destination will be on the right.
I am open for suggestions.
Stream Elements says come join the Prometheus Discord at https://discord.gg/cb7pqrj.
Open for suggestions.
Your destination is on the right.
I shall take a look.
715,209 says Peloton _ is live.
I've never heard of that person. Let's go say hi to Peloton. Can I do raid Peloton _ PALOTOM _
715,209 says oh he does bike rides.
Shouldn't that work? I have no idea if that worked.
$715,209 says it worked.
Nice. Wish mobile was a bit more. Let's go. But anyways, here is the raid call if you want to copy paste some raid messages.
Stream Elements says MR Destructoid Jaeger's robot army coming through.
Feel free
MR Destructoid
to do so. If not, then that is absolutely fine. I shall be ending the stream here in half a second, and I'll see you guys over the person we're raiding. I might be there, and it might take me a bit because I need to go inside, but I'll see you guys when I get inside. So yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys around.